one of the lenders, one of those people that do the high wire. It's very difficult.
Yeah,
who has balance for one leg?
If you're overweight, if you don't work on your balance on a regular basis, if you're a typical adult person,
if you're drunk,
you can't stand and you can't balance on one leg.
It's very difficult.
Try it. I mean, anybody who's listening to this who can stand
for 30 seconds.
Yeah, stand for 30 seconds on one foot.
I was thinking, I didn't realize it was for 30 seconds. I was like, I could probably do it for like 10 maybe, but yeah, no way 30. I actually have a question though about the DUIs. Have you ever determined that someone is drunk and they talked their way out of an arrest, like to you? Have they ever talked their way out of it from you?
Are you trying
someone that you don't know?
You mean some attractive girl? Is that what you're saying, Cody?
Sure. Maybe that's what I'm saying. No, anybody.
When they're like right on the border, and you're not sure, what I used to do, I would say to them, hey, listen up. I'm having a difficult time determining if you're intoxicated. I don't feel comfortable letting you drive. Is there someone you can call to pick you up and they'll take your car out of here? Maybe we'll take the keys. We'll just park it over here. We'll take the keys. Maybe we'll tow it. And if someone has had a few beers and they kind of get the little wink that I'm giving them, I'll give them a little wink. I don't know that you're drunk, but I think you might be. Most people will take that as I'm getting a break.
Gotcha.
They'll call their friend or their boyfriend, their girlfriend, their mother, whoever. They'll pick them up. Everything's fine.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but people try to kind of talk their way out of it.
Yeah.
Is it common? Have I seen girls who think they're like sexy and they see the cop and they try to give them a little wink and a smile and they do stuff like that? I've seen that. I haven't seen it a lot.
Gotcha.
But it probably happens in big cities all the time, like a New York or a Boston, places like that where it's a lot more common. But in smaller towns with population of 30 or 40,000, it happens, but it's rare.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's how I met my wife, though. But go ahead.
Well, the reason I was asking is because I haven't asked him about this, but according to my mom, my dad got like 10. He got pulled over like 10 times after drinking and talked his way out of every single one. However, that 11th one he did not talk his way out of and ended up losing his license.
Yeah, there are people out there that are very, very likable.
He's convincing.
Some people are very likable. You like certain people. And then in contrast to that, some people are very unlikable.
Yeah.
And no matter what they say, no matter what they do, you're not going to give them a break. So maybe your father's he's very articulate, he's likable, and
he's a sneak.
He's a sneak. He's shady. Yeah, 10 times would be a lot to get away 10 times.
Yeah.
If he's shit-faced, he ain't getting away 10 times. If he's like had a couple of drinks and he's been doing that his whole life, it's difficult.
Gotcha.
If someone has a couple of drinks in them, it's difficult to make that determination.
Gotcha. Okay.
The 9-step walk and turn. That's the heel to toe, heel to toe, heel to toe, walk a straight line, turn around, come back, heel to toe, heel to toe. That's another one that strikes me as being very difficult for the average person who doesn't have any
who doesn't walk typically on a daily basis.
Who doesn't walk typically foot to heel to toe, heel to toe, heel to toe.
Well, the heel to toe is. As long as it is supposed to be heel to toe.
Yeah.
But the times that I've seen it done, I've never done it. Like I said, one drunk driver the rest of my career. I'm proud of that.
So you're saying you only walked somebody through these tests one time?
No, I've been a backup officer and I've seen it done.
Okay.
Before. And the heel to toe doesn't always have to be completely touching. But what the issue is with defense attorneys is, first of all, does the person have an injury, like a bad knee or a bad ankle? Yeah. Is it a girl in high heels?
Yeah.
Is it the winter time? Is there black ice on the sidewalk?
Is it a fat guy?
Yeah. Is it an overweight person who has a hard time walking?
Is it a person over 30 who
doesn't? Is it a guy in a wheelchair? What is it, Dave?
I'm just saying it's one of these things. It's all basically leverage to try to get you, the driver, to take a breathalyzer. That's what it is. It's all leverage. It's the cop doesn't have to make a determination. If he just gives you these tests and you fail, which you're going to fail because they're designed for you to fail, then it doesn't matter. I mean, seriously, recite the alphabet backwards. That's not a real test.
No, it's forward. It's A, B, C, D.
It's forwards. I mean, I think we can all do forwards even.
Well, you're trying to determine is there any slurred speech?
Right. Okay.
What if they have a lisp?
Nathan, could you? What if they have a lisp?
Yeah. Speech impediment.
I don't know. Speech impediment is you would think you would be able to. But here's the point: if you have slurred speech and you don't walk correctly, and you don't lift your foot off.
You have bad balance.
If you've got bad balance, that takes two of those things. I mean, you're automatically gonna flunk these two lower body things.
You probably possibly would be brought in under arrest, possibly.
Yeah.
Based on that information.
Well, right. But from there, really, what they're trying to do is they're trying to leverage you to take the breathalyzer.
Yeah, I've never really sat in a room where we tried to leverage situations. I think.
But we're not talking about sitting in a room. We're talking about on the side of the road.
Well, I mean, I've never had the discussion with a group of cops. Hey, let's get some people tonight, and then we'll try to, pressure them to take the breathalyzer. I don't know any cops like that. I'll be honest. I personally don't. And if I did, I wouldn't be hanging out with them.
All right.
Because I wouldn't. We don't use it. Most guys don't use it to bust your balls. Those tests are typically done when there's definitely something going on, and maybe an accident, someone was injured, and the person driving isn't injured. You can't give them the test if they're injured. Right. But if there was an accident and someone was hurt bad, and the driver can do these tests, going forward, you have to make a determination of that they were drunk, because when it goes to trial down the road, if someone's killed, you have to have all these tests lined up, because it's going to work in the favor of the person being charged. Okay,
and this is really the thing with drunk driving. You want to take drunk people off the street because you don't want somebody to get kill themselves. Mm-hmm. We might talk about the recent tragedy involving the NFL player. All right, let's talk about checkpoints, sobriety checkpoints.
Yeah.
I came back from Hampton Beach once for the Hampton Beach Comedy Festival. There was a sobriety checkpoint. We were fine, but we were. It's interesting to go through it because you got all the lights, you got all the stop.
You get nervous just on that.
And I'm driving back from Hampton Beach, and I'm thinking they're going to pull over everybody in front of me. This is going to take all night. I don't know how they pick people out or not, but have you ever done a roadblock?
The state police usually run them.
Yeah.
Whatever town they run them in, the local town will have officers there, because basically if the state police run it and someone's going to be intoxicated, usually that local town will take the arrest based on the information. It all depends on what agreement they have. Yes, I have. I've done it like 1 or 2 times. What they usually do is they're going to say, we'll pick every 4th car. Okay. There has to be some pattern. Unless the 5th car coming through is weaving and something completely outrageous is happening, like they're turning around on a one-way street trying to take off on you, right, Cody?
Yeah.
If something like that happens, then you might focus on that car. But if they pick every 4th car randomly, they stop it, they have a small conversation with the driver, and they'll be looking for slurred speech, red, glassy eyes, maybe the smell of an alcoholic beverage coming from the car or something like that.
You're describing Nathan right now.
Oh, Nathan?
It's an air freshener. It's called Sea Breeze, and it's lovely to smell.
And here's the thing. If they stopped every car, the problem with that would be if one
you'd never be able to get to where you're going.
One of them would take forever. But the other thing is if you only pull people over for the smell of alcohol in the car, people coming back on a Friday night, everyone's going to have alcohol in their car. I mean, some will have more than
especially
others.
At midnight or whatever time, 11 to 3 in the morning. If they're doing it that time, a lot of people have some drinks in them at that time.
So that's not really something you could say would be even unusual for somebody to be driving on and they roll down their window.
Yeah, like I said, they're looking for the intoxicated, impaired driver.
Yeah.
So and those are tough. A lot of those are thrown out in court because the cops will not have a certain pattern on how they speak to people, or they'll talk to a person too long. They'll ask so many questions, and they won't do it correctly. And then when it comes to, the person's still going to get arrested. But when it comes to court, their lawyer, whoever their defense attorney is at the time, will bring up all those arguments that my client was, unfairly picked out of a line of cars, and they were handled incorrectly. They were asked 100 questions, and they did all these tests. And my client just got out of the hospital with a bad knee, and they'll come up with all these excuses and reasons why their client shouldn't have been arrested.
Are they excuses or are they reasons?
They could be reasons.
I've done this story more than once.
Yeah, okay.
With the defense attorneys, and it's basically like I said, it's jujitsu. It's like if you make the decision quick, if the cop makes a decision quickly, the cop made a rush to judgment. if the guy's belligerent, let's say it's a guy. Let's say it's
belligerency.
Nathan. We'll stay with
doesn't help your cause.
He's belligerent, and you say, well, how was it my client? And you say he was polite. And I say, oh, so he was polite like he wasn't drunk. And you say, and then you say he was belligerent because he was drunk. He was belligerent, parentheses, because he was drunk. And I say, oh, he was belligerent, so you didn't like him.
So basically what we're doing, you're trying to make me admit that cops make mistakes with OUI checkpoints. Absolutely they do. They're
no, I'm not just saying that. I'm saying that the lawyers, that's what the lawyers do. The lawyer basically
double-edged sword,
the cop.
yeah.
I got pulled over in New Hampshire once. 4 of us comedians coming back from a gig. Guy behind me is hammered. I don't know what I was doing. I think I was probably speeding. Guess based on the fact that it was me driving, I bet I was speeding. But we get pulled over. The guy behind me in the car is hammered, and so the cop smells alcohol. And sure enough, I'm in the next thing you know, I'm taking a field sobriety test, and the guy was nice. It wasn't a big deal. It was, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? I could do it all. And I think once I got out of the car, he saw that the smell of alcohol was not following me. So it's actually pretty easy if you're sober to do this stuff. But again, he didn't ask me to stand on one foot. He didn't ask me to go heel to toe. So it's
like my worst nightmare, getting pulled over with a drunk comic in the back seat. I swear.
Just making it worse for you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what it does is it prolongs the ride.
Yeah.
Because they can spend more time with this guy. That's terrible. So we're going into the holiday season, and let's talk about this. Unless I missed something. I don't think I missed something. Oh, you want to talk about the breath test before we move on?
Basically, you take the breath test, the legal limit. You mean you could legally drive if you're below 0.06. All right. So if you're 0.05, you're going to get released. If you're 0.04, you're going to get released. If you're 0.08, that's enough to arrest you. Right. If you're 0.06 or 0.07, that's a gray area where you can be arrested with other factors brought into play, such as
I never knew that.
Field sobriety test on the road. Yeah. So if you're not drunk, if you had no drinks, then take the test. But if you've had 3 or 4 drinks and you're like, oh, I weigh 150 pounds, I've had 3 or 4 drinks after one of my shows, and it's been an hour since you had the 3 or 4 drinks and they pull you over, you're probably going to blow a 0.08, and that's going to be probable cause to hold you and keep you. And you're definitely going to lose your license on that at some point going down the road. But if you're not drunk, then take the test. Yeah. If you're not.
You said
but
that.
It's hard because people get all.
Having said that, I've done the story with lawyers, and they all say
don't take the test.
They all say don't take the test, and I don't.
But if you've had nothing, and the cops arrest you because you're uncoordinated,
then you should absolutely
take it, because yes, there have been issues with breathalyzers that have been calculated incorrectly. That does happen.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess you could be worried about that. But if you've had nothing, for the most part, I've always seen the breathalyzer pick those people out and we let them go.
Wasn't there a case in Essex County about 15 years ago or so where they found there were lab problems? I'm not talking about the state lab problems. I mean problems with the breathalyzer in Essex County.
Absolutely, there was.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are issues if you're supposed to get your machine calibrated a couple of times a year.
Yeah.
And it'll go through a process where it double and triple checks the procedure. Yep. Some departments didn't get it calibrated. So if a defense attorney found that out, and they'll ask, when was your machine last calibrated? Like 4 years ago, they're going to throw out all those 0.08s and above, and all those people who were arrested for drunk driving, more likely than not, are going to be kicked free at some point.
And the interesting thing, it's funny, when this story came out, I thought all of the people who pled guilty, thinking they were bagged.
No, they're something from a defense attorney's perspective, he or she is probably right. Don't trust the system. Don't trust it because there's been instances where it's fucked people over. Yeah. But from a cop's perspective, it's like, if you haven't been drinking, or if you've had one drink, you might as well take it because you're not going to blow a 0.08.
My fear is anytime I'm drinking, I'm like right in that range. I always go for 2 beers, but they're kind of strong beers too. Yeah. So it's like I'm right on the fence. So my fear is that I would get overconfident and be like, I think I'm good. I'm going to do the test.
Yeah.
That's I don't know.
Or you tried to talk your way out.
Oh yeah, or that. Yeah. Yeah. Turn on the old Cody charm. Right?
There you go.
Do you know my dad?
Yeah.
We have 2 horrible stories here in the news. One from NBC Sports. Henry Ruggs, NFL player from the Raiders, was driving 156